So the objective here is, here's a city, you're working at maybe Pico Rivera, and in the planning department, and then someone comes in and says, I want to open up a business in your city. And the planner turns around and says, can you help this person determine the best place to put it in the city? And rather than saying no, maybe you have to say yes. Here's some locations. Well, where would those locations be? So one example, a student of mine worked at Pico Rivera in planning as an intern, and they said we need to find a place to put a adult entertainment center in the city of Pico Rivera. And I guess one of the requirements would be what? I've asked you this before, I think. What would be one of the requirements for adult entertainment center in a city? It can't be next to a school. Yeah, like a school. So a school. Then how far would you say? And you can't say bigger than the city of limits of Pico Rivera. So it's got to be. It can't be like 50 miles. It's got to be how far? 1,000 feet. Okay, and then what else? So school's one. Church, yeah, that would be bad. And maybe 500 feet because maybe they're maybe a little bit more older. Maybe. What else? Parks would be very good. Right next to a park, kids having birthday dinner, smashing balloons, and behind there's one not far from my house, and you can see they're pretty creative with those signs about the businesses. And I would want that to be outside of a park or a school. Anything else? Next to a Starbucks coffee shop? So that's Verizon. Okay. It can't be in residential area. Again, that's kind of obvious. Non-residential. Actually, it's going to be maybe commercial, but maybe it can be on a historical route. On maybe it's got to be. And so you can think of many criterias, and people are always trying to come up with ways to try to determine where to put something. I've seen some cities where you can go to the website and you can search for properties in a city through the website to say it's got to be a vacant piece of property, it's got to be a nearby train track, and it has to have maybe 5 buildings of this size square footage. Click, where do they exist? And they highlight up on the screen. So then the developer or the business person can see where the places are for that person to go see. So they made it automated to where they can perform it themselves without calling up on the phone. Hey, I want to put a business in your city. Can you give me some suggestions? Well, you can actually do it through their website. And that was 15 years ago when I saw them do that. That was City of Ontario. So you can do the same thing. In this case, we want to do it inside of GIS, but there are some tools that our Esri is exploring, which I think are pretty, I've tried to play with it. It's really good. It's called GEO Planner. Esri, like I said, is moving things up online. And the GeoPlanner is a way for you to cite something. One project I work in a different class is where to cite windmill farms. You have to look at, well, where it's windy. It's got to be on state property. It's got to be outside of habitat area. It's got to be within a distance of a road. So when you cite those criterias, where do they exist? Well, you need GIS to do that. You can't do that in Access or Excel or stats programs. You need some way to cite something based on location. GeoPlanner is one of those tools, and it's really cool. I've been playing with this. The only problem I have with this right now is that I have to use their data, which kind of sucks, because I want to be able to use my surface data, the data that I've been playing with lately. Did I bring it? It's in my car. But the LARIAC data, the LA County just sent me last week the LARIAC data for the whole county, and it's the high resolution surface data for the whole county. And it's called, it's like a radar. Gives you the surface topography, and you can generate contours, you can do cuts and fills, you can see the building footprints, you can see the building peaks and the trees. It's amazing data for the whole county. And I just pulled off a few quads last night to play with, to explore. So I can use that data to cite where to put something, looking at slopes, looking at accessibility, view sheds. The problem I had with this is that I said, hey, I went to the workshops, spent a couple of days in the class, and this is great. I want to use my own data. And right now they say, well, you can, but you need to put it up on your own server. And then that's when I trip up. I can't do that. But it's coming. So this is something that would be eventually available for you to do something up online. Right? Also involves geodesign. That's another big area in GIS right now, designing with GIS. So many, many different tools coming. But in the meantime, I have a project where we need to use GIS locally, and we have to come up with some criteria to locate something. And the only one I can think of right now that I've been using is my pizza example. But I mean, I guess you could do something else if you want to. Pizza is pretty easy. Everyone eats pizza. Maybe not like I eat pizza with anchovies, but maybe something with flowers on it or something. So if I'm trying to locate a store, I know you guys eat pizza, or you know people that eat pizza. Here's a few bullets. So what would you think? And I may even ask you this again before, but that's okay. First criteria for have a pizza, right? You're not going to drive out here and go drive through the industrial areas because they're not going to have a pizza store there. Maybe they'll have a pizza truck there. So it's not going to be an industrial area. So where would be the best place to put a pizza store? One criteria. Yeah, so people eat pizza. I would have put it next to the senior retirement community because maybe they do eat pizza, but probably students eat more pizza. Right? Actually, a good one. If you want to do another one, it would be good to put a crafts brewery. That'd be very cool. Maybe put a craft brewery in Corrales. Yeah, so I'd say nearby school. But when I say near, how near? I'll say OSU, Oregon State University. It's where the Beavers. Yeah. How close would you say, Mai? You said distance to university. How close? So bell rings. It's lunchtime. The race house had to go an hour to get back. What would you think? 15-minute walk. Okay, good. We could do walking distance. But then that would involve using a different software, a different tool that we haven't used, and also involves using some things up online. But we'll say maybe within 1,000 feet. That's 2 blocks. 1 block's 500 feet, maybe like 1,000 feet. Okay, so there's one criteria. Nearby the university, 1,000 feet. So what else would be another criteria? Let's say that a lot of students don't have cars. They just bike. Oregon State University is a very small community. Most people probably live there. I lived there, but I drove 50 miles to my school outside of Corrales to Oregon, University of Oregon. So let's say that most people bike. So I guess parking may not be an issue, but what else? Bike packs, maybe nearby bike path if I had them. So let's say, well, how near? True, you got really lousy pizza. I mean, your pizza sucks. So I'm gonna say not within. I'll say 750 feet. I'm just guessing feet from pizza, from existing. Okay. And then Jose said near bike path. And I'll say maybe a block, 200 feet maybe. So it's where you can see it. So near OSU, near bike path, not within 750 feet of existing pizza. Okay. Corrales is pretty known for their flooding, so that'd be another thing. I'd say not in the flood zone. Unless it's in a 2nd-story brick building, maybe, where you can take in kayaks, but I'll say not in flood. Okay. What else? Near park. Park, yeah, okay. Near park. Near park. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's go 6 and 7. Add some more. What's that?
Away from an animal hospital.
Yes, in case there's some vegetarians or something, or people with animal folks. Yeah. So okay, go away from the animal hospital, okay? So when you say away, let's say 500 feet. That's like a block. I'd say probably can't be next to my house because I'm residential area, so I'm gonna say maybe, I don't like it to where it's commercial, everything's square buildings like this. I mean, it's all big square buildings. It'd be kind of nice to have a mixture of buildings, some brick, and where people live above maybe, like a mixture. So maybe I'll say mixed use, commercial. Okay? So I can put 20, 30 different criterias. Now, if you ask somebody to do this without GIS, I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know. In the olden days, they drive around in a car and see what's available for a parcel. They drive blocks and blocks, look around. Oh, that building was kind of cool. In this case, I'll say, well, these are the criterias, and how can you determine that? Well, you have to use GIS. And I've given you, how many buildings? 17-something thousand buildings? 20,000 buildings. And you ought to come up with only 25 to 10 to 25 buildings. So I give you, let's say, 17,000 buildings. Just give me 10 to 25 buildings. And let's say that you have maybe 30 buildings that you found. How can you reduce it down to be even less than 25 buildings or less? Let's say you got 30, now you need to get rid of maybe 5 or 6 of them. What would be another criteria, you think? The objective is to find existing buildings to put in a pizza store. What do you think, Josh?
View from the highway?
True, you can stay away from a highway, it'd be kind of nice. Or next to a river, because you can sit eating pizza and watch ducks go by. But some of these buildings are like as big as this, right? I mean, that would be a bad place for a pizza. Like you walk in here, it's like big building, it's all pizza. So maybe you can say the size of the building must be, maybe it's got to be less than, I cannot see, but I'm going to say less than 800 square feet and greater than, what's the smallest size of a store? Maybe greater than 500 and less than 1,000 maybe. Less than 1,000 and maybe greater than 500, right, square feet. So in the direction I have you, there's a few bullets, and I'd like you to think of what criteria that you have, and the objective is to find between 10 and 25 buildings to put in the store. And so the eventual, when you complete, you'll have those buildings identified in a layout showing which ones meet the criteria. Okay? So I give you a whole bunch of data. The only thing I didn't really give to you is which one? Oh. Existing pizza stores. So you have to go find it yourself. Everything else I've given to you. Well, most everything. I give you bike paths, I give you roads, I give you land use, I give you flood zone. Where did I get this data from? I just went onto the internet and said Corvallis, Oregon, shapefiles, and they have all the data online. You can download it. Parcel data, buildings, everything. So I figure, all right, I'll make this into a lesson. Wherever the data is, I mean, I'm not going to search and make data. I like to use data existing already. So that's the objective. Here's 17,000 buildings, pick 10 to 25. So who will be doing this? A lot of cities have redevelopment offices, but some closed, but planners may have, well, where would you say marijuana plant? Actually, that would be a good one too. A craft brewery or a hemp, what's called a dispensary. Where would you put one of them in the city? Right? So if you want to do something different to pizza, you can. It's not a very big city, but I'll leave that open to you. I'm going to do pizza because it's easy for me. Okay. So far, any questions?
So what do you want? You want us to turn in the PDF or?
PDF showing where those buildings are. Yes. Mm-hmm. And let's say you have to drive out to the city and you have only an hour to view those buildings. So you can say here's 17,000 buildings, or you can say here's 10. It'll be easier. Josh?
So we don't have to do pizza. We could do, for example, Little Paper that we wrote.
Other what?
A Little Paper that we wrote like 2 weeks ago.
Yes. Yes, and it's not a very big city. Yes, so it could be a flower shop, nearby a mortuary, or maybe you want to look at pet stores next door to the sushi shop, things like that. It's up to you. You can be creative if you want. Yeah. So people place businesses for some reason at that location. Like, what's next door to a Verizon store normally? What's normally next door to a Verizon store? Probably a bank, or Verizon, maybe, or one of those phone companies. What's next door to Trader Joe's? I don't know, maybe a liquor store. So some people place businesses next door to other places to try to feed from each other. So where's all my data? I did post it online for you. It came right from the Covalis website, and probably 20 years ago. But the data's old, but that's okay. It'll still work. I can still open up ArcView 3 data, ArcView 2 data in this version. And everything I give to you is in shapefile. It's not in the geodatabase. The geodatabase I like to work with so that I could digitize and check for errors and add certain domains, which we didn't do in this lesson. There's a lot of advantages why we want to use the geodatabase. In this exercise, we're just working with shapefiles, no big deal. And meanwhile, I'm going to look at where are all of the places that are my competition. You can do craft breweries, like I said, or whatever you like to use, like Joshua mentioned. But I'll do pizza. Where would I get my existing pizza stores? I could go through phone directory. Do you guys know what they look like? Like a book. You can flip through it. We have to go get Covalis. Or you can go look online, Yahoo. You can look at Yellow Pages. I have a library card from LA County. I picked it up here a few weeks ago. I've lost it. But I do have a library card for my other library I work in. So I'm going to cheat because I can. I have a library card. So I'm going to go and just ask before I go any further. I would like to get all of the businesses in Covalis, Oregon that are pizza or craft brewery. So I'm going to do a search. I guess I'm recording this. This is a great site. If you want to look for a job someplace, like I want to work in an engineering company, civil, owned by a female, 20 people, no more, great credit rating, and this square footage within 20 miles of my house. What store, what businesses are they, and give me the name of the owner, gender, ethnicity, phone number, everything. This will give it to you. But I'm going to look for a keyword, and I don't know, every business, has an SIC code, right? If you go to a business outside, they have a specific NIC or SIC, right? You can even look up online. It's a standard industry code, industry SIC code. Somewhere online, I'll see one, Department of Labor, okay. So, for example, this is on standard codes. These are all codes for different businesses. So there is one that is for pizza. So I'm going to look for a pizza, SIC, PIZZA. And here it says, well, we want to be more specific. Do you want to look at pizza menus, that people make menus for pizza? Or do you want to look at wholesale pizza? I'll say, just give me the bloody pizza store, which is this one. So I'll pick that. And any business out there that is a pizza business has the SIC code. So I'll just pick this, and I'll say, oh, by the way, can I just update the count, and how many do I have? How many are in the United States? Oh, 86,735. Okay, well, can you limit that for me, please? Or then I could pick either an address of my house or a zip code. I'm going to pick a city. I'll pick a city, and I'm going to type in Covalis. Oops. Covalis, Oregon. And then I'll update the count. Oh, I have 18. 18 businesses in Covalis, Oregon that identify themselves as being pizza. So I say, just give that to me. View results. And here they are. Oh, they just added this. How cool is that? Heat map. I'm not even going to look at that. That's cheating. So I'm going to download this data. Okay, where's download? I can actually download 4,000 addresses. If there's 4,000 businesses of a certain type in the city, I can download 4,000. That's pretty good. That saves you from typing 4,000 records. I think if you use the library card for LA County, you may have like 1,000, maybe. So I'll pick download. But if you have 2,000 and you limit it to 1, you can download the first 1,000 and download the second 1,000. I'm going to download a comment delimited custom. See, I can download the company name, the executive name, city address. How about gender? That'd be kind of cool. Gender of the executive. Okay. Maybe if you G-code, you need an address and a zip code. But what's the option you have other than geocoding? If you don't have address, you can use what instead? Lat long. Lat long is 100% every time matches it. And there's no credit. Let's see if they have latitude, longitude. And sure enough, they have latitude and they have longitude. So if you have address, you would have to geocode them. If you have latitude, longitude, then you skip geocoding. I'll say, yeah, I think, well, credit rating. Because I want to see if it's really bad credit rating, I am going to be closer to that one, maybe. Maybe they're going to lose business and I'll take over. I can also get the, well, I cannot get the county rating as far as A or B. I can get that for LA County. You can go online and download it. Which ones have problems with refrigeration, with rats or cockroaches? I'll say, here's 18, give them to me. And now here are all my addresses. So I've avoided having to type in 18 addresses of pizza stores. And here they are. American Dream Pizza, Mark O'Brien. And Mark is a male. And latitude, longitude, so it's 44 degrees latitude, so it's north of us. And 123 degrees east, west. So that means they are west of us and north. Any females? There's a female one here. That one is owned by Carol Lee and Suds and Suds. Woodstock's Pizza, I've been to that one. Okay. So, Papa John's, so there's all the pizza stores. I am now going to save this into a folder because I've skipped now the step of having to type it. If you want to type it in, that's fine. If you have a library card, even better. I'll put in a GIS and I'll call this pizza. Okay, so there's my step there to get the addresses so I can continue on. Here's my data for the city of Corvallis. There's a city. And there is the Oregon State University. Here's the Willamette River, or Willamette, it's Willamette. Here's the flood zone. Here, make it like a light blue. So there's the flood zone. So if you want to put your building in, select a building in the flood zone, you can, but you may need some insurance, unless it's on a second-story building, maybe. I don't know. Would that be the case? If it's second story, do you need flood insurance?
I'm sure if you're paying rent, it goes in for the
It
rent.
does. Okay. How about if you're in like a 20-story building?
The owner's not gonna pay for it, you're gonna.
Okay. All right. So, and here are every parcel in the city. And we're going to look at which building, not really which parcel. We could do parcel, but we'll do building. And there's the bike lanes. I'll make them red so you can see them. There they all are. And what else do I have? Here's the parks. And here's the highway. If you like historic buildings, there they are. Historic buildings are old areas where buildings are pretty, authentically nice, old. There's the historic district, if you want to put it inside there. And what else do we have? Bike lanes, a lot of bike lanes. Oh, sorry, bike lanes here, and center lines of streets. And land use. Land use identifies what you can put there. I could change the colors like we did in lesson 5, where the symbology of these are based on this. Maybe designation, land use. Okay, so this is my land use. Which one is the one I want to put it in? I think I want to place it in this one. Mixed use commercial. If you want to put it in something different, then feel free, but I want to put it in mixed use commercial. Really, that should be red. You know, like lesson 5, the colors reflect conventions that planners use. I'm not going to worry about this for right now. I just know what I want. Okay, so here's all my buildings, and there's a lot of buildings. How many buildings do I have? I have, oh, I guess double what I told you, 34,000, not 17,000. So you had to pick 10 to 25 buildings to put pizza store. Some of these buildings are pretty small, the size of an house where you can almost bend down and sit on a toilet. I mean, they're really small. Some of these buildings are pretty big. Like, look how big this is. This is probably in square feet. So that would probably not be the best place to put a pizza. You couldn't even put a pizza box in there. So I'm going to probably say at least 500, 1,000 maybe kind of big. Right? There you go. And some of these are actually decks. Look at that. So that actually, that 4 square foot is a deck, not a building. So you want to make sure it's a building too, not a deck. Okay. I bet all those buildings were generated like LA County does using stereographics. Well, you have these glasses on, you can delineate the boundaries of these buildings pretty quick. Today it's much easier with the software that we use as the LA County Fluid, and all buildings are drawn based on the surface. Okay, so far any questions? Here's our data. Yes?
For, like, if you wanted to look for Starbucks, would those be able to easily join with the building you already have?
What you do is you drop them as points, blank. Like what I'll do now is I'm going to bring in, I'm going to save my work first. I'm going to save it into my GIS folder because I know where it is, and I hit save. So to locate my XY points, it's pretty easy. Where it is, here it is. I'm going to, right, remember if you have a latitude, longitude, you can use this option. If you have only address, you have to use this option. But I'm going to use XY because I downloaded XY. From XY and latitude, longitude, okay, pick this, it's geographic, it's world, here we go. And in the output, I'm going to call this one pizza. And there's my pizza store. I'll make it bigger so you can see it. So these guys have better pizza than me. So there's one criteria that I'll use. So I'll make my own criteria. Again, you can put whatever you like. So I'm going to say lousy pizza. So away, I'll go 500 feet of existing. So there's one criteria. Okay, one. Now, so I want to go 500 feet. What do I do to those points to where I can see 500 feet? I can buffer, right? There's many ways to do the same thing. Now, I can do this too. You can go select by location. You can, and remember when you select by location, the objective is to pick what you want, which is buildings, right? We don't want to find between 10 to 25 trees or 10 to 25 flood zones. We want to find 10 to 25 buildings. So you pick the building, and then you then determine, well, pizza, okay, and I'll say 1,000 feet. Let's see, 500 feet. So this is one way to do it. The other way is to do buffer, which I'll do in a moment. So what I'm saying is identify the buildings nearby the pizza and add 500 feet. So from the pizza, go 500 feet. And here we go. So those are the buildings I don't want. But I picked the buildings that I do, that I want to pick the buildings that I do want, but I pick the buildings that I don't want. How do I pick the buildings that I do want? Yes, you can go to building right here, and you can go to selection, and you can actually switch it. Again, there's many ways to do the same thing. Like buildings, selection, and then switch selection. So what it does is just switches it. So here I go. Right click building, selection, and then I'm going to switch it. Fine, I have a fast computer. So how many buildings do I have? Well, I got quite a few. So 32,916. Okay, so I'm going to go down here to where I have 10 to 25 buildings. So my goal is to go to maybe 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll go through 5. So I'm going to pick 5 locations to get down to 10 to 25. Now, if I accidentally do something, I may have to start over again because when you select by location, sometimes you forget which one to use. So here's an example. I do not want buildings in flood zone, not in flood. Exclamation mark. Right? So when I say I do not want the buildings selected that are in a flood zone, so which tool do I use to tell it to do that? Most everything in this exercise is going to be select the location. Right? And again, I'm picking buildings, right? That's the objective, to pick the buildings, because people always get mixed up. Which one do I pick here? You can pick more than one, but the objective here is the buildings. And then I'm going to say flood zone, which is 100-year flood. I am not going to add a distance. I'm going to say it's either in the flood zone or it's out. But you say it's going to be 100 feet maybe or more? Close?
In or out.
What's that?
Flood zones are in or out.
So it's either in or out. So even if it's like an inch away, it's not in the flood zone. Ah, so good. Now, if I do this, what's going to happen? I'm going to lose, it's going to do the selection all over again. So what option do I pick? Well, you can see right here. Look at this option. Which option do I pick? I want to pick the buildings that, yes. I want to remove from currently selected buildings, right? I want to take away the buildings that are selected that are in the flood zone. So it gets a little confusing. So you have to think about it for a minute. If you pick the wrong one, you have to start over again, right? But there's ways to avoid having to start over again, but it's okay if you do. I'm not breaking anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, oh, by the way, can you please remove from the currently selected buildings that are in the flood zone? And let's see, you'll see that these buildings here, you'll see all these buildings here are going to be removed, all these, right? There we go, apply. So now I have 3, 1, 8, 9, now I have 3, 1, 8, 6, 8, right? So I got 3, 2, so I dropped down another 1,000. Which one of my choices do you think is going to wipe out most buildings?
Size of the building.
Okay, apart from that one. No, actually, that one will still get a lot of buildings. Won't be one that wipe out most of the buildings that close to the university, one of them, and also land use. And so I'm going to leave them to last. Actually, no, I think I'll do OSU. Nearby OSU, Oregon State University. I'm going to say near, because these guys, the bell rings, they have 1 hour to get out, eat pizza, and get back. So I'll say 1,000 feet. Because if we're from 1,000 feet away, that's a few blocks. They need exercise anyway, so that's fine, 1,000 feet. So then what do I do from here? Select by location. Select by oh, here it is. So which option do I do here? I want to pick the buildings that are 1,000 feet from the school. Which one would I pick there? Yeah. Select from currently selected features. Again, if you pick the wrong one, you have to start back over again. Oh man, I have to start back over again. You could put all this into a model, but that's for a different time. So select from currently selected features. Okay, pick the buildings that are not flood zone. I'll say Oregon State University, and I'll add 1,000 feet. 1,000 feet. If you do not add the 1,000 feet, it'll only pick those inside the university, which actually you can't put a pizza store in the university. Well, you sort of can, but let's say you can. So here you go. Select from currently selected buildings that are nearby the university, 1,000 feet. If they intersect it within 1,000 feet, pick them. Here we go. Apply. So now I have 2,750. So I dropped down 29,000. So now I'm down to 2,750. 2,750. Okay. So I'm getting pretty close. So my boss calls up and says, hey, can you help the person find the best place for a pizza store? I say, I found them. There's 2,750 buildings we can go drive around. Well, that's still too many. I said, well, can you kind of narrow it down to 25 maybe, or less? Oh yeah, I could. Let's see, what other criteria could I use? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna try to do it with 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. I need 2 more. Okay, I'll say mixed use commercial. So it's got to be a mixed use commercial. Now, where's my mixed use commercial layer? See, notice I just leave this up here so I can. I'll just keep it here. I'll turn this off here a minute. Let's see, mixed use commercial, mixed use commercial, mixed use commercial, commercial, commercial. Well, land use. Here's my land use data. Which ones are mixed use? How can I isolate so I only see the mixed use? I don't want to see anything else. Remember what we would do there? I would say, okay, land use, disappear, unless you equals mixed use, right? I go to land use. And remember this lesson where I say, by the way, can you hide the land use unless you equal mixed use? But that would be bad, smiley face. So I have to go query builder, and I'll go to, I'm assuming land use equals, get unique values, there it is. Mixed use commercial, I like mixed use. You know, business here, someone lives up on top. Right? So I'll hit OK and watch what happens. Everything disappears except for mixed use. I'm gonna make these red anyway because it needs to be red. You know, I look at this and it's supposed to be red. Yeah. So there are some places, however, like this business is not in mixed use commercial. What are they in? They're in some other type of commercial. But I want mine in mixed use. So here's all my buildings back. There. So I can see that none of my buildings are going to work here because they're too far from the university. So these are all gone. That's gone. These are gone. There are maybe some over here. I can see some down below. Okay. So what do? I select by location. There it is. I pick the buildings, again, that's the goal. Not University of Oregon. I'm going to pick Oregon State. I'm going to pick land use. Okay. It's kind of hard for you to see back there, but am I okay to hit okay? Can I hit okay? Pick the buildings, good. In the land use, good. I isolated mixed use commercial, good. What else do I need to do before I hit okay?
1,000 feet, you have to erase
I have to uncheck if it's 1,000 feet. Otherwise, it's going to pick from mixed use commercial out, which includes residential areas and schools, right? So I'm going to tell it, don't do that. If I hit okay, I have to go back to the beginning, start over again. You don't have to, but in this case, we'll say yes, you do. So I'll uncheck this. And then here we go. Ready? How many do I have now? 22. I got 22 buildings. So 1, 2, 3. I did it in 4. I did it in 4 steps. What else was I going to do? I guess that's okay. Yeah.
Can you show the floodplains one more time?
Okay. Floodplain. I'll make it to be a darker blue. And hit OK. There's a flood zone.
I saw that some of the buildings were selected on the other side of the floodplains. How would you get rid of those?
On the other side.
Yeah, like if there's a flood and you want to go get pizza from your university, you don't want to have to go through the flood.
Yeah, so then if you pull the distance from the university closer, but if it did go over slightly, the one thing I could do here is I can say it's got to be in the city limits because the city limits are right here. And this over here is agricultural area. That's one way. Another way would be to, I don't know, when we work with census data, these are normally tracks, and tracks don't normally cross over a river, so there may be a way to do that too. Or zip codes. Normally zip codes probably often follow city boundaries and waterways. Yeah, probably. Or you can just do it manually too, which is kind of not really the best way to do it, because you can actually select up here. There's actually an interactive way we can do it manually. You can draw a box around the items that you don't want, and they disappear from the checkbox. We'd have to make sure that you pick remove from current selection, so you can manually do it. If you have thousands to pick from, that'd be kind of hard. So there's my only few I have left. I can actually right-click on building and selection, zoom to selected features. That's them. It's hard for you to see where they are. What could I do so that I could see them better? Right now they're blue. Some of you submitted some of your lessons with things highlighted. And I mentioned in some of them that I looked at, I said, be sure when you print things out, tell it to remove the selection so it's not blue. In the olden days, it would be yellow. People saw that and think, that looks like you forgot to unselect something. In here, I want to make sure I remove the selection before I go any further. What can I do to those selected features so that I can clear them? Before I clear them, I need to do something with them. Yeah, I can do 2 things. 3 things I could do. One thing I could do, I could make a new layer and trace over them, which is like prison work. I know you guys want to do more work, then you have to, but you don't have to do that. The second way is this. You can right-click on a building, and you can take the selection, like this. You can go to the building, right-click, you can go to selection, and then you could create layer from selected feature, meaning take the highlighted features and put them into a separate layer. But it's not really a layer. It's only in your project. You can't share with anybody else. It's only in your layer. If someone deletes those files, that then would not appear. It's like showing a selection as a item. Now let's say that Jose said, well, can you send them to me because I need to see if they're in a flood zone? I wouldn't use this option. I would go to right-click on this, data, export it, and makes a brand new, totally separate, independent layer, and I give it to you. Then you can check it. I would not do this option because it's only inside the project. You can use either way. If I did it this way, where I take the selection and create a layer from selected feature, there's not a lot of steps after that. That's just one step. If I use this option, data export, I have to go through a few more steps, and it makes extra files, so then the file sizes get more and more files. If you're only doing some quick analysis, I would say just right-click on here, take the selection, and create a layer, and now notice up on top, there it is. So now these items here are now its own separate item, but it's not a layer. It still points to the original layer here. So if you delete this layer, that selection is gone. So I'll leave it like that. And I'm gonna, now I can clear it so that nothing is highlighted. Because when you print something out, make sure that nothing's highlighted, but people always say, hey, you forgot something selected, you need to uncheck it. Here we go. Now make these buildings to be, I don't know, maybe red, maybe, like that. Okay, so now these places I have, here we go, should be by the university. Here we go, where's the university? There. And I said 1,000 feet. Just to check, I'm going to do this. Jose mentioned this. I can do geoprocessing. I don't need to do this. I already have my buildings, but I'm going to do it. Geoprocessing buffer. I'm going to draw a buffer around the university. And I mentioned 1,000 feet. 1,000 feet. And I hit OK. So all it's doing right now is drawing me a buffer. It's like someone going out a big long piece of string with a piece of chalk, and they're drawing 1,000 feet away from the university. I'll put this to the bottom. There. So now you can see all my buildings. Let's see if I fix this so it makes it easier for me to zoom in and show you. Hold on. So if I zoom in here, you can see these buildings are within 1,000 feet, so that meets the criteria. Now, are they outside the flood zone? They must be outside the flood zone. Check. Yep. Oh, one building looks like is in the flood zone. All right, I guess not. It's not in the flood zone, right? Okay. Very good. And pizza, existing pizza store. Here's the existing pizza stores. Are they nearby the existing pizza? I'll turn off the existing buildings here. So they're not nearby the existing pizza stores. I guess, I'm gonna buffer that too, just for fun. Take the pizza store, and I said 500 feet. Maybe I can go less if it's got a bad credit rating, but I'll say 500 feet. Hit OK. Let's see. Oh. I'm gonna change the color of that so that I can see it better. Maybe, I don't know, maybe gray or something. Put that underneath. Yeah. Yeah, so none of my pizza stores are nearby the existing pizza stores. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see that. Maybe I'll just do a ring. Yeah. So they're not nearby the existing pizza stores. That's good. So that checks, that checks, that checks. And mixed-use commercial, I want to make sure, just to be sure, because they'll ask me, are you sure they're in the flood zone? Yep, I'm sure. Are you sure they're in mixed-use commercial? Well, I'm going to check right now. Are they in mixed-use? My buildings are red, so I need to change them to be different color, maybe black, so I can see it. Where's my mixed-use? Okay, here, there. Looks like they are. They're all in mixed-use commercial. Here. How about down here too? That one is too. How about that one in the flood zone? This one? That is too. So it checks out. And now I have 22 buildings. And I said, well, let's go look at those 22 buildings. But before I do that, I'm going to say, well, let me check one thing. Well, some of those buildings are actually decks. One is a deck. I'll give me a drive around and look at a deck. And some of these are pretty small, like 200 square feet. I mean, here area. So what would you think a good size place would be? I mean, what size building would be good for a pizza store? Any guesses? I don't know. 1,000? But you wouldn't want like 14,000. So maybe I'd say it's got to be at least no more than 4,000 is kind of big. It's got to be greater than 800 and less than, well, if I do 3,000, I'm not going to have 10 buildings. So less than 4,000. Although some of those really big buildings may have small pieces to build, right? So maybe like several buildings attached into one. So maybe I'll just say it's got to be greater than 800 square feet. Okay, does anyone know how I can get rid of the ones that are less than 800 square feet? Yeah, so I just go back to here again, and I'll say query, and I'll say area. It's got to be greater than, I'm going to say 800 square feet. 800. Hit OK and OK. How many buildings do I have left? 18 buildings. Oh, one of these.
800, you put 8,000.
Oh, 800. I did 8,000. I
Okay.
backspace.
Yeah, you couldn't see.
I can't type. Oh, that's true. It's delayed up here.
Okay, yeah.
So there's my 18 buildings. So I am, I said, here they are. You got 1 hour to drive around, or 2 hours to drive around, look at buildings. You don't have 30,000 buildings, you have just 18 buildings. And they said, well, good, can you please make a layout of that and print it for me? Now, we're only, we're saying that every single building in Corvallis is available, right? Because we don't know if they're available. Because maybe only 1 or 2 of those buildings may be available. So we don't know if they can be moved in. I think if I was going to make a layout of this now, I would add a few things. I would add maybe the buildings back in here. Maybe make these to be white. I'll add in maybe the parks for reference. I didn't use parks at all before, but maybe I'll just add them in here. And what else would I add in here? Maybe the parcels. That makes it kind of look nice there. Here's one. Maybe the roads, so I can label the roads. Center line, I can label them. Yeah. So I got my rows labeled. There's all the buildings that are meeting the criteria in black. It's called building selection, so I'm going to rename this. I'll put down suitable building. There. Suitable building. And I think I'm going to make mine to be landscape instead. Letter landscape. Yeah. If you wanted to be cute and make your pizza stores look like a piece of pizza, you can, but you'd have to make the buildings to be points to make a pizza. Right? You cannot make a building square to look like a pizza. You can convert the polygons to be points to make them to pizza. The problem in here, we don't have the latest version of GIS. I mean, the most, the highest level of GIS. We are using ArcGIS Standard, which does not allow us to make polygons into points. So I will forget that. I'll use mine just as squares. And here's all of my legend, which I don't really need everything. Maybe I'll move this over here a bit. Maybe move this up a bit, maybe. Maybe like that. There. Suitable buildings, right there. Bring my legend down to the bottom. And my legend's here. I don't really need all of this in my legend. So I'm going to reformat my land use to be just one color, and I'll make it to be red. Like that. New outline. Hit OK. That's the bottom. Yeah. And my legend can go here, I guess, but I'd have to break it down to fit. So you can have yours oriented portrait or landscape. It's up to you. But of course, every layout needs a north arrow, scale bar, legend, title, source of data, and in this case, I want you to put on here what are the criterias for you to pick those buildings. Here's mine, 1, 2, 3, 4. What's the best way to do that? I think most of you do this. You go insert some text. Where's our text? Text. Draw. And you can either draw one line of text or you can use rectangle text. I prefer this. I prefer to do this. I go to Insert, Object, and I use Microsoft Word. Why do I use Microsoft Word? I can't spell very well, maybe. It's a spell check. It has all the fonts you want. You can put pictures in there. You can embed AutoCAD into here. You can embed Word. You can embed Excel. I'll put Word in here. Let's see, word. This one. Hit OK. And now here's word. And I'm going to put in here. Let's see. Print layout. Okay. So I'll put down. I'm not sure where my margins are in here, but that's okay. I'll put down suitable locations for pizza are determined by the following criteria. Enter. And I'll bullet. Where's my bullets? Yeah. I'll make my fonts bigger so I can see them. Pizza spelled wrong. See, Esri will not fix that for you. Not yet, anyway. And I'll say one would be away from competition. In parentheses, 500 feet. And then not in flood zone. And near within 1,000 feet of OSU. Last one. Within mixed use commercial only. And then what I do is I quit out. I don't save. I'll make this one to be, I'll make this to be, pizza to be red and bold. Okay, so and then I quit. There we go. And then it's in here. And I can make it smaller. Fit it down below. Maybe my legend, I can make it smaller. I want to somehow fix this. And here's my, suitable pizza location in Corvallis, Oregon. Suitable, left justified. Hit OK. Bring the text down here. So it's got the north arrow, it's got the scale bar, it's got the legend. Notice I can't pick my north arrow. Does anyone know I can't pick that bloody thing? I am trying to pick it, it won't let me pick it.
Is it a different place?
Yeah, because it's a video card problem. If I go out to data view and go back to layout view, I can see, oh, there it is, I moved it already. And my legend, I can fix that. I'll put this over here. Maybe I'll put this into 2 columns. I double click on it, and I'll put this into 2 columns. Design, how can I make this in 2 columns? There's got to be a way in here to be 2 columns. Design, maybe? No. Layout, maybe? Oh, here, columns, 2. 3, no, 1. Okay, can I put these into 2 columns? 2. Nope, it's not working. I know I can put it into a table, but I'm not going to mess with it. I quit out, and then I can move this someplace, or I can even move this in here somewhere. Like, there's no buildings inside the city of, in the Oregon State University, so so then I could put a box around that. Let's see, a box like this. Maybe make it to be white. Let's see if this looks okay. Bring this to the front. Order. Bring the front. Like that. If I was really picky, I'd want my font to be exactly the same font as my legend. Yeah. People know that these are buildings in here, so I'm going to take buildings out the legend because they should know that's a building. So I don't need, all I need to have is suitable building, existing pizza, and what else? Maybe, I don't know what else I would need in the Oregon State University, maybe. And I'll hit OK. Maybe like that. So I have a small legend. Okay. And save. So there's my 15 buildings. And I should put down in here how many buildings there are. I have how many buildings? 18. So I'll put in my legend 18 buildings. 18 buildings. And ideally, I should have the address of those buildings as my competition. Sometimes I can't spell competition. Yes?
To add the numbers to the buildings, you can actually double click on the legend and there's an option that will let you put an account right next to it.
Right here?
It's,
Oh, I know what you're talking. It's right here. When you double click on here, symbology. I think I know what you're talking about. You go to, for example, land use, and you show categories, and you add all values. You can click on here. Is that right?
if you click on, double click on legend, it'll bring up the legend and then you can select it and it will show you the numbers.
Okay.
One of the top ones will have it.
One of these top ones.
Yeah.
You know, we are using an old version of Esri.
Oh, it's right there. It's right there.
Where?
Next one.
Oh, here.
Because you're behind, I guess.
Is it here someplace?
No, you just passed it. It was.
This one. Down?
I'm seeing like 3 seconds
Oh, sorry.
slower.
Is it this tab?
It's not that one.
This one?
Yeah, it's that one.
And where do I click?
So, right where
Oh,
you
right
yeah,
here.
there.
Ah, you know what? That's been something the police folks have been asking for a long time. Because they want to be able to know how many burglaries are there, how many robberies. That's good. I've not seen that. In the olden days, we'd have to use map info to do that. That's good. I learned something today. I like that. And I'm going to take the word legend out because we assume people know the word legends there. Okay. So there is a PDF. Ideally, if I was to go further, I'd put this as a interactive map up online. I'd send them the link. He or she would then have a link on the iPad or the Samsung or the tablet or the phone, and they could see where they're located on the map. As you walk around, they can see the location. They can click on it. Maybe it has a phone number. You can click on it. This is just like print, digital print. But having interactive would be ideal. Okay, so then I make the PDF. Okay, so then what was I going to show you next? Oh, you know what I would do? Just to be sure, and I've done this for projects, I want to know, in fact, if that is actually a good place, because it says that there's a flood zone down there. So I'm going to try to find out where that place is. Upstairs, I've seen it. The LA County folks have a little peg man or peg woman where you drop from the screen into the map, and it shows you street level. And I've not seen it. Someone's written a script to do that. The only way I know how to do this is take the identify tool, and I'll point it down here. I'm going to change this to be decimal degrees. I'm going to copy this decimal degree and go to Google Earth to check it. Or, even better yet, here we go. This is even better. Go to KMZ, Google Earth. Here we go, watch this. KMZ. I am going to take this layer and convert it to KMZ, and then I'm hoping it does only those 18, and put it on my desktop, and I want to, I'll call it suitable, and then hit OK. So it should be making me very good. Where is it? Here it is. You ready? Nope. There it is. Double click. I'm going to go down to street level and see if it actually worked. Close. Zooming into Oregon, good sign. Here we go. Here's the places. It's kind of hard to see because it's a polygon. If it was a point, it'd be sticking up with like a little point. It'd be much easier to see. I don't know if there's a way for me to change this to show as a point. Probably not. Can I show it as a point? No, I can only change the color. I could probably change the thickness, the altitude. Maybe I can make it to be as a rate. No. I want to make it to where I can see it to the ground. Oh, I'll lift it above the ground a bit. Yeah, so I'm lifting it upstairs. Hit OK. Yeah, and I'll make it to be red. Can I make it red? Style color. I'll make it to be red. Hit OK and OK. So there's my buildings. Here's the one in the flood zone right here. Now this building, this is kind of old, this data, but I can see there's the building right here. And I'm gonna just drop down to street level. Pegman, drop down. I thought that was it, but maybe it isn't. Maybe it's at the corner. Oops, passed it. Oh, there's Google car. There's a barber shop there, student discount place. So I can examine each of those 18 places and see if it's a good place before I even get out there. There's another one down here. This place. Drag it down. Let's take a look. What is this? An antique mall. That would be a cool pizza place right there. But someone beat me to it. So that would be even better pizza place right there. Yeah, that'd be cool right there. Pizza place. A nice garden in the back with some music. So in marketing, business, I mean, this is ideal using GIS. I don't know why you wouldn't be using GIS to locate a business. In our school, marketing, they have GIS as one of the classes for them to take. And so there's all the buildings that would look okay. There's one here, another one, another one, another one. Yep. So each one of these could be a potential good site for a pizza stall. So I gave you the option: pizza, fine, or if you want to pick a craft brewery, that's okay too. Or if you want to pick